Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Vega with podcast number 3 of Nerdlife. It's audio only for a few reasons. I'll get to those in just a second. I just want to take a moment to thank everybody that has listened so far and given feedback. I do appreciate you listening, taking time out of your busy schedule and your busy day to go ahead and listen to me rant and rave about different things. The reason why I'm going audio is I'm testing out, seeing how it sounds with my studio microphone, recording a podcast, etc., when all I've ever done really on the studio microphone is scripts and stuff for my voice acting. So what you're hearing is will more than likely not be edited. There will probably be some stuff edited out, like if I cough or if I sneeze, things like that. That'll be edited out. However, this is raw, just me talking on the microphone. Excuse me. Now, that's part of it. The other part is I don't have to talk to a camera. Talking to the camera, looking at myself last week in the podcast on YouTube was kind of awkward looking at myself on there. Didn't really particularly care for it. Probably do it again at some point, but last week, not only that, with the airplane and the train and everything, anybody that watched it, if you want to watch it and get a laugh out of it, my wife and I cut the bloopers together in a blooper reel. So check out youtube.com/nerdlife2012 if you want to check that out. Now, as you guys know, last week I said that I was going to cover Comic-Con in some way or whatever. I obviously wasn't there. I'm located in Akron, Ohio. I honestly cannot afford to make a trip out to San Diego for a week, but as you know, there's plenty of media coverage either online or on TV. So what I did is I compiled a top 10 list really in no particular order. Some of it is kind of in order. Once you get to the middle, it's not really in order, more or less, but it is a top 10 list nonetheless. I don't really like lists, but went ahead and did it because there was so much coming out of Comic-Con. It was hard to just pick 10 things. Now, before I get to that, I want to tell you that towards the end of the show, I'm going to go through and let you guys know what's going to happen in the next few podcasts. After that, basically what I'm going to do at the end of the show is try and do a brief little review from now on, as well as a preview of 1, 2, maybe 3 upcoming shows. So we'll do that in just a few minutes, but let's get to the list. Top 10 things that I found out of Comic-Con. Like I said, no particular order. Number 10 obviously is in order. Comic-Con itself. Comic-Con is arguably one of the biggest nerd things there is out there. In addition to E3, the Electronics Entertainment Expo, WDCC or whatever it is that Apple does, Google I/O. There's a whole bunch of other things, but arguably the one thing that takes in a bunch of things, such as video games, movies, comic books, things like that, is Comic-Con. I think Comic-Con is a nerd fest in and of itself. Now, with that being said, number 9 is kind of goes hand in hand with that, but it's the costumes. Now, people hear me say costumes and they think, oh, he's just thinking about the girl costumes. That's not correct. That's not all I'm thinking about. I saw some amazing, looking through different people's pictures online that people had posted on Twitter or on forums. I saw some amazing costumes out there. There was a Rocketeer one that looked absolutely stunning. Just some different ones, seeing the different costumes that come out of Comic-Con, people that cosplay and whatnot. Really interesting to see, and I like that. Number 8 was a movie. I got to see the trailer for it. I believe it was Friday afternoon. It was posted online. But for the new Oz movie that's coming out. It's not supposed to be based off of the old movie. It's actually supposed to, the way it's been described, technically be a prequel to that movie. It stars James Franco. It's very, very bright, but at the same time very dark. If you haven't had a chance to see that trailer, go ahead and check out the trailer on YouTube. Just type in Oz and then do the drop down and check it for the latest uploads. It's a very interesting trailer. Anybody that was a fan of the original Wizard of Oz or whatnot, maybe the books, I think they'll like it. I'm going to like it. I'm definitely going to see it. Well, I'm not going to say that I'm definitely going to like it, but I'm definitely going to see it and hopefully like it. Number 7 is actually a personal thing. Anybody that knows me knows that I like Spider-Man, knows that I like a lot of the supporting cast and characters. So the only problem with it is I don't have the money to continue to go out week after week after week and buy comic books. My thing has been recently going and picking up the comic books at the library in the trade paperback format. That being the format, it's kind of hard to get comic books and get all the news from the comic books. I was a little, I don't want to say perturbed or disturbed or whatever the word is. It caught me off guard a little bit, but one of my favorite recent Spider-Man characters, as in recent within the last 5 years, was Anti-Venom. Eddie Brock altogether has been an uninteresting character, more or less, but having the storyline with him having cancer and getting the Anti-Venom symbiote was an interesting thing to me, to see that it cured his cancer, and to hear that he was gone kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Not Eddie Brock himself, but Anti-Venom had been destroyed, caught me off a little bit. It was a question brought up at the Minimum Carnage panel. Somebody asked if Anti-Venom was gone, and the writer said that it appeared that way. So when they say it appears that way, sometimes maybe it's not like that, but other times it is. Just depends. So we'll see if he's brought back or not. That was just something that kind of caught me off guard. Number 6, as I said in no particular order, has to do with movies, but it also has to do with comic books and comic book movies. I tweeted out a picture that somebody had taken, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, of the full view of the Superman costume from the new Man of Steel movie. What I've seen of that and what I've heard of that, well, seeing the costume was really awesome. What I've heard of the Superman movie sounds like it is going to be better than the one that was shot with Brandon Routh as Superman. I look forward many times to different comic book movies. That's one that I'm honestly looking forward to. I'm hoping that we actually get to see Superman, maybe not in a so much cheesy light, and maybe actually taking on a supervillain instead of Lex Luthor. The argument can be made that Lex Luthor is just a human, so how much of a threat can he really pose to Superman? So I hope read up a little bit more on that. Haven't had time to read up a whole lot on it, but it does say, one article that I did read says that it's a little bit of a darker take on Superman. So I look forward to seeing that. I won't go too far into detail as far as number 5. If you want to see the trailer, look it up on YouTube. But number 5 was the Deadpool trailer. It's kind of funny to see Deadpool in a video game. The last time I saw him in a video game was the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions game. This is a more adult take on Deadpool, if you will. More out of the Max line of comic books. I think it'll be interesting to read the reviews of the video game once it's out. I'm not sure I'll actually play it myself, but I think it's the trailer was very funny, more or less, and stayed very true to the comic books. So if you're a fan of Deadpool or a fan of those kind of video games, definitely check out the trailer on YouTube, or I believe Marvel.com has it posted as well. Number 4, we're getting down to where things kind of go in order for my excitedness coming out of Comic-Con and Comic-Con weekend. Number 4 was actually the Firefly reunion. I've watched Firefly a couple times through. I'm actually going to be watching that and doing a review for the podcast in the future. Not sure how far in the future, might be next year. I don't know, but there was a 10-year reunion at the San Diego Comic-Con. They actually filmed the reunion. It's actually going to be out in a documentary. So when the documentary comes out, I will definitely be watching it. But for those of you that are Firefly fans, read up some of the articles from the panel. There's an article, I believe, on Comic Book Resources. There's one on Newsarama, and there's one also on Blaster.com. So if you're a Firefly or Serenity fan, both being the same, go ahead and check those interviews out from the panel and whatnot, and let me know what you think if you get a chance. Number 3, I'm not so sure came out of Comic-Con. I haven't been able to find a definite resource for that. It's something that went over the web, I believe. I mean, just totally blew up over the web. I believe on Sunday, if I remember correctly, Sunday afternoon. It was called Batman Shanghai, or Shanghai Batman. It's a little less than 2-minute clip of a anime-type Batman. Starts off with an anime. It's anime. Let's just put it that way. That way I don't have to keep calling it anime. Starts off with a woman inside of looks like an office room. And suddenly she's surrounded by security. She flips up the sheet, and suddenly she's in this white and red cat outfit. She quickly disposes of the security and takes something from a very big man, jumps out the window, and in a slight cameo appearance, lands on the wagon being pulled by Bane. Bane is very scrawny, but is wearing the mask at that point. She runs around a corner and is met by a man in a blue suit that tells her to give the item back. Ensues on a quick, probably 20-second karate type fight, and ends saying to be continued. So this is something that I hope is continued and hope to see in the future. The next thing kind of is hand in hand. I put it in together was the Marvel movies that were talked about at San Diego Comic-Con. If you don't know, Iron Man 3 is coming out next year, May of next year. They showed the new armor that he will be wearing, which is primarily gold. It's a gold color with red highlights. I want to see how this comes off on screen. Looking at it on picture, it looks like it may not come off that well, but definitely looks cool. Guardians of the Galaxy comes out in 2014. Thor: The Dark World comes out in 2014, and Captain America: Winter Soldier comes out in 2014. Obviously, we have one more Comic-Con before those ones come out, so we'll find out more about those. But nonetheless, they have titles, they have logos. Definitely going to be interesting to check those out and hear more about those over the next 2 years. The one other thing I wanted to mention as comic book geeks, as far as the Marvel movies are concerned, if you are a fan of The Punisher or the Punisher movies, definitely check out Thomas Jane's short 10-minute movie he made. There's a couple cameos in there. It is a tribute to the Punisher, arguably one of the most famous characters he's ever played on the screen. Check it out if you haven't found it. Look up on YouTube, Dirty Laundry. Type in Punisher with that as well. You should be able to find it. It's very interesting. Very true to comic book form, very true to the Punisher story. If you are a Punisher fan, definitely check that out. The last thing coming out of Comic-Con weekend that I was really excited about, found out about it, I believe Saturday night, was we're going to see a new Godzilla movie. At the Pacific Rim panel, some questions were taken and whatnot, some footage was shown, and then a quick, probably, I think it was 10 to 20 second teaser trailer for a new Godzilla was filmed, or not filmed, but shown. I think that's going to be awesome. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Godzilla fan, but I ran out and saw the Godzilla film from 1998. While as a monster movie, it's a good movie, as a Godzilla movie, it was an abomination. I think the fact that we are seeing one come out later on, probably not this year or even next, but seeing that a new Godzilla movie is coming out definitely got me excited. I'll definitely be there, probably opening night, to see that. So that's my top 10 things that came out of Comic-Con and Comic-Con weekend for the podcast here. Going through what it was: 10 Comic-Con, 9 the costumes, 8 the movie Oz, 7 Anti-Venom seems to be gone. 6, the Superman movie, hearing some of the things we heard about it this weekend, as well as getting to see the costume fully in some light. The Deadpool video game came in at number 5. Number 4 was the Firefly reunion. Number 3 was Batman Shanghai. Number 2 was the Marvel movies, including the self-done Thomas Jane Punisher movie. And number 1 was Godzilla. As far as the next podcast, I know I said I was going to do my problems with Apple and why I prefer Android over Apple, but that one is actually getting pushed back. My next podcast will probably be Friday at some point, probably early to late afternoon on Friday. Reason being is I'm going to the movies on Thursday night, either Thursday night or Friday morning, to see The Dark Knight Rises. Want to give you my feelings on that, as well as anything else that may happen between now and Friday. And probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I will give you a podcast as to why I feel that Android is superior to Apple. Some people aren't going to agree with me. Some people will. Let's just call it a term to agree to disagree as far as that's concerned. I'll get into more about it later. Other than that, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment here on YouTube. If you care to follow me on Twitter, it is Nerdlife Josh. You can follow me there. You can tweet me there. I'll try and get back to you, answer any questions you might have. You can also email me at nerdlife2012@gmail.com. Again, as I said in the little video that I posted earlier today, I'm looking for a place to host the audio podcast. If I find a place to host the audio podcast, we'll go ahead and do that and just start going with that. I might even have it up on iTunes. Now, I know that I just said that I prefer Google over Apple pretty much, but hey, when it comes to podcasts, iTunes is probably the best. Other than that, have a good week, guys. As I said, hope to record another one either early or late Friday afternoon. Have a good week. Remember to live happy, live free, and remember, keep it nerdy.